But yeah, I mean, the joke we would always make was like a fucked up version of the bucket list.
Which we would call the fuck it list.
Yeah, and it was like instead of going to like Taj Mahal, they would like do meth for a day. Like, do all the fucked up shit they always wanted to do their whole lives, but it never got to.
Because the whole idea came from the fact that when I was sick, people didn't know how to deal with it, and they would ask really absurd questions. People thought, like, people who had seen the bucket list thought that's what you actually do when you have cancer.
Probably the most unfortunate part of your illness is that it kind of coincided with the release of the bucket list. That was poor timing.
Not great timing. So Seth and I would make fun of that, and that was where the idea for the movie sort of came from. And we had this idea for a movie where you have one friend who has two best friends, one has cancer, and doesn't want to do anything but sit at home and just kind of just sleep all day because he's so sick, and then he has his best friend wants to exploit the cancer and do all the things he's never.
It's like I have a bucket list, but he's sick, so I use his disease to do my bucket list. I mean, that was kind of. I mean, we would just joke about it honestly, and then, after he got better, we were like, oh, we can just kind of write about what happened, which is much easier.
Yeah. So then Seth and Evan really urged me to just write a screenplay, just about the experience of being sick and what it was like, and I took, I sort of drew upon a lot of the themes that I went through, with friends and family, and incorporated them into the script. But most, I mean, like, Adam is very, very close. I was a little bit, I used to be a really neurotic, worried person, and he used to make fun of me all the time for it. And that's very true to those. I mean, to Adam and Kyle are, that's their dynamic. Is Kyle makes fun of Adam for how much, how neurotic and how worried he is. And I mean, that's definitely true to our friendship.
Yeah, it was. It was very similar. I thought that regard of it. But again, it's kind of a mishmash of stuff that's real and completely invented.
Yeah.
Well, to me, what's fascinating about the movie, and I don't know, I hope both people in the audience would agree that this is really pretty unique, and that you obviously are taking a comedic approach to this, or trying to find the humor in a pretty.
I'm glad you guys thought it was funny.
And we're laughing. And I've actually seen the movie twice, and of course, along with the laughter comes the tears. I think, which is of course, you got a review on us, right? Right? Am I right about this? So
we weren't here. You could have not
take my
played
word
well.
for it. And so I was very curious about just when you came into or conceptualizing the movie, or I don't know too much to what extent this was ad-libbed as you were filming. To what extent were you concerned about how far of this on the sort of knife edge that you're walking you can go? Can it be too funny? Are there any sort of topics that are a bit taboo? What's funny about cancer?
I mean, funny stuff kept happening to us when, literally, this was even too ridiculous to put in the movie. When Will told me he had cancer, I was on the toilet taking a shit. And I probably shouldn't have answered the phone, but I did. And I literally remember thinking, like, man, like, I wish I could emotionally connect to what's happening more, but I'm literally taking a shit right now. So, I mean, as soon as...
He did a good job.
I did do a good job pretending to emotionally engage.
I didn't find out until 2 years
I didn't tell him for years, because I thought he would be insulted. But that was, as soon as it started, it just became clear that the experience was so different than what we had seen in movies and stuff like that. It's not like Will's sense of humor had cancer, just his back did. So it's like we were all still the same people,
And we